I watch episode 41 of Pokemon every year because I watch every episode of Pokemon every year. In episode 41, Pikachu's Goodbye, Pikachu doesn't say goodbye. As his friends enjoy nature's splendor, Ash interrupts with an impression of the last neglected child whose life they failed to improve. His suffering attracts a wild Pikachu that his own follows through the brush. Ash and friends deny its autonomy and independence and follow as well. They find the Pika colony and Ash's Pikachu makes friends as its human companions are hardly hidden in a highly visible shrub. As Pikachu begins to bond with its brethren, Ash butts in, brashly waving his arms, making himself look big, believing that he is also accepted by the Pika caucus because he sees his Pikachu as only an extension of himself. But Ash isn't his Pokemon. Ash isn't the Pikachu kid. As Pikachu experiences emotional isolation, Brock and Misty explain to Ash why all wild Pokemon are correct to fear him. From a weak branch, one of the Pikachu watches them and falls into the rapids. Ash and friends again follow behind their resolute rodent, getting a good view of the unfolding tragedy, doing nothing to refold it. Ash's Pikachu tries to save it alone, but it fails. As they approach their end, they are aided by a daisy chain of determined Jews who drag them back to dry land, restoring them back to full health without interference from Ash and friends or any other Pokemon who would have been better suited to help. Who's that Pokemon? The only one in this episode aside from their natural predator and numerical antithesis. The petulant pilferers plot another Pikachu poaching before plummeting from their own precarious perch. Under the moonlight, the Pika-kin all vibe out to the soundtrack of the show. Pikachu's efforts have propitiated it with the pack. Brock and Misty are happy to see Pikachu happy, but Ash is pointedly displeased. Their shared positivity affects Ash negatively. Huddled around the campfire, Ash hides his concerned feelings from his closest friends, letting them rest as his spreading mind races. The first of two flashback montages plays. Scenes and dialogue from earlier in the episode are seen again, this time accompanied by a somber piano melody which plays as slowly as Ash's ability to process his own thoughts. Ash escapes his synaptic spiraling by manifesting more suffering. He and his fellows follow the sounds of yellow sorrow. Ash and friends again just stand by as the Pikachu's plea for freedom. But the villains don't take further actions either aside from their compulsory introductions. Instead of directly helping the Pikachus themselves, Misty suggests that they try to break free with an electric shock, but their imprisonment was designed with their most commonly used ability in mind. The others are given another excuse to do nothing, and the villains fly off in their hot air balloon that they somehow recovered between episodes. As they make their escape, the versatile vermin gnaw through the rope and neutralize the rogues. Ash tries to celebrate another rescue that he had very little to do with before Pikachu goes to check on the other victims. Ash is unfamiliar with stable support systems and sees Pikachu's inclusive empathy towards others as a lack of loyalty. Ash assumes that Pikachu would be better off without him and makes that decision for the both of them. The second montage is accompanied by the song The Time Has Come, a power ballad about powerlessness written specifically for the show. But there is still a dissonance between the flashbacks and the lyrics. Ash and Pikachu's journey through thick and thin has mostly just been thick, hella thick. They also show scenes from an episode where Pikachu actually had to say goodbye. That episode's montage was more meaningful because Butterfree actually left. Ash's emotional state is expounded upon further in the novelization Pokemon I Choose You. His internalized inadequacies led to the repetitive thought loops, adding credence to the farewell featured on the second to last page. The preceding episode had Ash coldly confront his over-reliance on his Pokemon, which if Pikachu did leave would be its last memory of them all together. This episode sees Ash at the other extreme, trying to exist without any of them and failing continuously. He says that it's for the best because he no longer believes that he will be the very best. You can't be self-sufficient when yourself isn't sufficient. But before the episode and the 87-page book ends, the sun rises, and in its shadow is Pikachu. The time has not come. Whether reeled in by the fake out or astute to the inherent repetitive nature of serialized television, the assumed and accepted loss that Ash feels in this episode are more to do with his understanding of independence between him and his Pokemon. In episode 41, Pikachu's Goodbye, Pikachu does say goodbye, not to Ash, but to the non-domesticated lifestyle. When finally given the choice, Pikachu chooses Ash. Through thick and thicker, Ash and Pikachu's codependency will always be continued.